on recently on CNBC on May 7th and said we could see a 10 to 20% drop in the averages if the United States and China dug in on these trade talks. We're at 5. What do you think? Is 10 look likely, 20 less likely, but possible?
Well, it's possible. We also have to remember that the best thing that President Trump has going for him is the economy and the stock market into next year's election. He cannot afford to let that slip, and I think he knows it. I think his political advisors know that. A year from now, we can't be lower on the stock market than we are, and our economy has to be better. So it's up to Trump to make a deal. I mean, even if he doesn't get everything he wants, it's going to be a fantastic deal, right? We know that's the way he's going to sell it. So he's trying to negotiate the best thing, but ultimately he cannot pull the lever all the way up. My feeling is it's going to be a satisfactory outcome from this war. But if he wants to push it to the end, the market's going to continue to react. We know that it is a great source of uncertainty. I mean, Steve just mentioned confidence. What is the status of the inputs that I buy and the exports that I sell is a big factor for all retailers and manufacturers.
Well, you just explained Chuck Schumer to me, the recent bipartisanship. He'd like to put Trump in a position where he can't say, okay, buy some soybeans and I'll sign on the dotted line. Schumer's kind of backing him into a corner where he's saying you need to actually extract some real concessions, Mr. President, and that would make sense because Trump probably would. At some point, if it's not going to happen, we probably would take a half win, or he would take a half win just for the election, Jeremy.
Joe, how many people are going to go into the weeds of an agreement to see, what is really going to be done or not? I mean, Trump has a history of calling things fantastic and the best ever. When we look at him, we say, hey, is it that much different? I mean, the U.S. Canada trade agreement, is it all that much different from NAFTA compared to what he first, advertised it to be? No, not really. So my feeling is you can pull victory out of defeat. No one's going to look at the details. The market wants a solution. Don't forget, the market didn't really want this trade war to begin with. Yes, we want to protect intellectual property if we can. But a trade war to get there, I'm not sure. Let's not rock a boat that's going well. The boat is going.
Don't forget, President Xi's got that big, important election coming up in a couple of
Absolutely.
Wait. No, I guess he doesn't, does he? He's going to be there.
He's going to be.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't have to worry about an election the way Trump has to worry about an election.
Mr. Wonderful, you agree with
Jeremy, I'd like to push back a little bit on two aspects of what you're talking about. I, along with millions of others who deal with China, we are looking at the deal. We are looking at the details. I want access to that market. I want IP protected, and I want a platform to litigate on when I am getting screwed, as I have been for the last 15 years. So, no, I'm not accepting any deal. My message, along with many others, are let's get it done and let's get it fixed. It's not like that this time. The Canadian NAFTA deal was already in existence and was working and has now just been reinstituted. That's not the same. China has gotten away with murder for 35 years. Time to fix it. It's not going to be pasted over, my friend. This is going to be a fight from hell, and I'm ready for it because I want to get to the other side where I can do business there fairly.
Do you think American manufacturers or American companies are ready? Is Apple ready for it?
Yes, we are. And my message is, if you actually live and breathe with what these guys do and how unfair they are, you're done. I'm sick of it. I've been living with it 15 years.
What price are you willing to pay in terms of losses in the stock market?
I am ready to
or access to the Chinese markets in the meantime?
I also want to push back on Jeremy on this. This is not a trade war with the world. This is one supply chain country called China.
Yeah, but
we're taking them to the wall, not everybody.
Here's the complication. Certain American companies that are manufacturing in China have other outlets and opportunities to create supply chains elsewhere. They can go to Vietnam, et cetera, and there's a flexibility in terms of being able to move somewhat quickly, months, if not a year or two. Then there are companies like Apple which has put effectively their entire supply chain there. And that becomes much more complicated.
You have to look at the big picture. Apple can move to India. Apple can move to Vietnam. They can do it. They have the wherewithal. They have the capital to do it. I am not going to sweat bullets for one name in an index, okay?
I'm surprised at you because...
Why? Why? You don't live with me
I don't
in
hear the rigorous cost-benefit analysis that you are so famous for in your discussion right there. We have lost $1.1 trillion in market wealth. What is
That's only a 5%
Hold on.
correction.
Let me finish.
No. It's $1.1 trillion in global market wealth in one day.
What is the potential upside? What percent of the total trade relationship is hampered by the IP and these other issues relative to the other benefits that we get from an open supply chain and cheaper Chinese goods and inputs to thousands of businesses in the United States? I get that that's a problem, and I do not want to diminish it. I just think that when you have a business and you have certain inputs that have a positive aspect and one negative aspect, you have escalated this to the top of the...
Steve, you see this little American innovation with an IP, this little toilet bowl light? Its sales are down 35% because of Chinese knockoffs. I want it back.
Agreed.
And I've got 22
That's
items.
one item.
Jeremy is still here. Jeremy, since the December lows, in the face of the China trade war, how many trillions has the U.S. stock market gained that we fail to mention as we focus on the $1 trillion that we just lost? About 6 or 7? How many? Do you got that number at the top of your head?
Well, we're actually, I mean, I just think a point or two below where we were
Since
in
December?
that September high
Talking about, we're up
that we reached before that big trade-off. You know, talking about trade, remember, there's two
We're
issues.
counting on the way up, were you?
One Trump is right on, one Trump is very wrong on. He's just very wrong on because we have a trade deficit. We're losing all those billions that could be there. That's just, unfortunately, wrong economics. I won't go into it now. The right part is the intellectual theft. He's conflating the two. If he was really concerned about the intellectual theft, we should have gone about this in a multilateral way. Europe is concerned. The others are concerned. We could have applied world pressure. There's a
Jeremy,
number
that
of
didn't work.
things
We
that
tried
could
it
have
for
done.
20 years. It didn't work. We could never coordinate anybody
Not
else.
accurate.
We never really
It's
went
not
at
accurate.
it.
Let me
Every
explain.
Seriously.
administration tried to deal with this.
No,
It didn't work.
Let me explain. China only entered the WTO in 2001, 2002. So it's wrong to say.
So what?
Because that's the beginning of the process. And you know what the result of that failed WTO process was, to quote somebody? Was a massive lowering of Chinese tariffs. Massive lowering. Over that time period, we have had some adjustment and a need for major adjustment, but included in that is a flexibility of the yuan and other things that have happened. The idea that negotiations have failed, to my mind, is a fiction created by this administration.
I don't believe that at all, because I live and breathe it every single day.
That's the difference.
And the market's flat. The market is flat, according to the Wall Street Journal and according to since the president launched his tariff war, since December 2018.
Oh, okay.
January.
Since the
That's
very
what the
beginning
Journal said in their
Since the
op-ed
very
today.
beginning of it. But since December.
Since the trade war
Since the
started.
trade war started, Dow's down 1,300 points.
No, since December 18.
I mean,
the
the new
tariff
trade
war
war.
started.
Tariffs, all right.
That's what the Wall Street Journal op-ed section says.
Going to leave it there.
Thank you, sir.